Welcome back to the show. Well, back to help raise awareness because, you know, that's one of the reasons I love this show, because we talk about so many different subjects. And this one subject is one that I wasn't familiar with until I sat down and started doing my notes for the show there last night. I'm joined by Christine McNair. She's the coordinator of the Ottawa Promise Walk for Preeclampsia. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here, Christine. So yeah, what is preeclampsia for those that aren't familiar?
So preeclampsia is a surprisingly common condition in pregnancy and just after pregnancy. It essentially involves a hypertensive crisis. So your blood pressure goes too high, and it can lead to all kinds of scary things like seizures, stroke, organ damage, even death for both the mother and the infant, either in the pregnancy period or just after pregnancy.
Okay.
So it can have very severe consequences, and it can come on very quickly in a pregnancy.
You've experienced this twice, Christine. Tell me about your experience and, you know, the challenges that you faced.
So I had preeclampsia twice, both times postpartum. So both times after I'd already given birth, which is unusual. And I do credit my survival in this case, because maternal mortality is much higher after when it's postpartum, is through my midwifery group that came and did home checks. So they came, my blood pressure was extremely high. They brought me to the hospital. And once I was seen by the OBGYN, I was not allowed to walk. I had to be in a darkened room for a week. I was on all kinds of heavy medications to try and bring my blood pressure down so I would not have a stroke and so I would not seize. The second time, the advantage of being empowered and knowing about this disorder is that I was able to identify those symptoms quicker. My care team, both my midwives and my OBGYN, were able to help me sooner, and the recovery time was much quicker. They were hoping I wouldn't get it a second time, but I did. So by being more informed about the disorder, I was able to react more quickly to it.
What about your children? Were they affected at all?
My children were well. Actually, I was very fortunate that way, but there are women that have had preeclampsia or HELP, which is a severe form of it, who have lost their children either through stillbirth or through restricted growth in uterus, and they end up being quite small and premature.
You mentioned your signs and symptoms. Are they different for it? Is it like a very individual sort of thing where you may see a lot of differences in signs?
There's sometimes some differences, but a lot of them are quite, they follow the same thread line. So severe headaches, upper right quadrant pain. Sometimes you get vision disturbances, sudden weight gain and swelling. You can also get nausea, vomiting, and the one that I had both times was a sense of dread, which is a really odd thing, but you do, and it reinforced to me that we need to trust our instincts and advocate for ourselves in order to make sure that we are taken seriously. And I was very fortunate to have great care providers that do that, but it is very easy to dismiss those kinds of symptoms as regular pregnancy or, you know, exhaustion after giving birth or postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. And it was very much not that. I knew something was wrong, and because I had great care providers, they helped keep me safe.
Did you know of this beforehand? Like, had they mentioned it to you?
I mean, I think I had heard about preeclampsia in a general sense. I knew that high blood pressure was not a good thing in pregnancy, but I really did not have a sense of what to look for exactly, and definitely not in the postpartum period. I did not know that that would be a time where I could get sick, and that's often where women are most likely to die, is in the postpartum period, because it can be so easily dismissed as something normal.
Right.
And that young runner in the States who recently passed away, Tori Bowie, she had likely preeclampsia and died.
Is there a lack of research around preeclampsia?
There is. It's identified by the World Health Organization as an underfunded area of medical research. So there just is not a lot of understanding, and it's a very old disorder. It's been known since the time of Hippocrates, but we still don't totally understand it. And so there just is a real lack in research and education. So the Promise Walk and the Preeclampsia Foundation, that is their main mandate, to support research, education, and a sense of community to people that have gone through this.
Did you reach out to the foundation at any point?
Yes, so I reached out to the foundation early when they started doing Promise Walks, which and I ran the first Promise Walk here in Ottawa before the pandemic. We did a couple. Then there was the pandemic, so then we did virtual ones. And now this year's the first year we're back. So it's been a great opportunity. There are also so many lovely resources here in Ottawa. The Ottawa Heart Institute has a postpartum program for mothers that have experienced preeclampsia or gestational diabetes. So we can make connections through the Preeclampsia Foundation to them. They often have a team at the Promise Walk. There's a placenta lab which studies the placenta, which actually has a lot to do with how preeclampsia happens, and that's here in Ottawa at the University of Ottawa. So we have a lot of really interested scientists and resources here. So my big focus when I became involved was to connect these threads, because I could see these threads of women that had experienced preeclampsia. It was very difficult for them. These researchers that are interested in the science, and care providers that are helping women that have gone through this, both during and after. So
the walk isn't just about raising funds, although it's a big part of it, but it's also, you know, an amazing awareness campaign in itself. Tell everybody at home how they can get involved, Christine.
Yes, so we have a Facebook page, the Ottawa Promise Walk for Preeclampsia, and there's also the Canada Help site, which is where you can sign up and register for the walk.
Okay.
You can contact us either through the Facebook page or through that site. And if you're interested in volunteering, or if you just like to register and attend, there's often a community kind of event around the walk where we have some things for the kids, a warm-up. We have a kind of community fair where we can see some of the resources locally for helping with some of these issues, like especially for things around, you know, even things holistically like to do with mood and how you might be impacted and have, you know, PTSD or something from your very negative experience. So there's a lot of ways that people can become involved, either through volunteering or just attending the walk. And I think it'll be a great event. It'll be September 10th at the Terry Fox Athletic Facility near Mooney's Bay. So really convenient, lots of good parking, lots of accessible things.
Thanks so much for coming, Christine. Really appreciate it. We'll be right back after this.